It begins in-game, deep in Walbury Forest. A man stands there, blood on his face, facing down a whole army, even a woman on a throne. Her subordinate asks, "What now? We've tried everything." And he still stands. She pauses, contemplating, then gives the order, "Kill him." A muscular man in a shirt steps forward, axe ready to strike. The man seems ready to yield, until a white-haired figure erupts from the woods, landing a clean slash. The fallen cheer for Harkin's arrival, as soldiers shout for his head. They try to swarm him, but he gives that sharp, glowing stare. And you know what that means. Everyone is sliced down, collapsing dead. He then asks, "You think charging me all at once is going to make a difference? Not even all of you together can stop me." That's right, the name's Harkin. In-game, he's called the Hero Slayer. The people behind him begin to apologize. "Sorry, Harkin, this is all our fault. We didn't think they would trap everyone here." But Harkin says it's all right, no need to stress. He reaches his hand out, telling him it's time to get up. The guy tears up hearing his name, but Harkin says it's okay, it's his fault too. And then there's that pathetic villain always tailing him, but never good enough to defeat him. He glares at her, calls her an idiot, and she just stares back. Man, I swear I hate pretty villains. Seriously, why can't there be an ugly one so I can just say, "Finish her"? But no, this guy's brain works in weird ways. Even though she's the enemy, because she's pretty, he won't hurt her. She stands, saying their little friendship is touching. But why act so sentimental? Even if Trash teams up, it makes no difference. Her name is Sir, and in real life, that woman's name is Chelium, the Thunder Queen. But Harkin tells her that every time someone tries to kill him, it's always the same. They get humiliated and tossed out like garbage. You're no exception. Sir warns he'll regret what he said, but he calmly shows his watch, activating a slot. A mask and sword appear. What the hell? He equipped a +99 legendary set. But honestly, that mask is always cringe. Man, it's almost impossible to put a mask on a character and not look cringe. It is like a challenge nobody can win. He points his sword, saying he's heard this same speech many times before. Sir loses it, calling him an arrogant bastard and ordering him killed. He just smiles, saying she still hasn't learned it's impossible. Then, boom, he's stabbed from behind. Classic. His so-called friends betray him, landing the blow. His HP drops fast, he can barely move. He hits the ground like trash, trying to understand what happened. The friends, so to speak, tell him they're sorry. "We all need to make money too," they say. One begs him not to hate them, saying this was the best option. Of course, Harkin turns around, shocked. Now Sir is laughing right in his face. "Alright, I don't care how pretty she is. I want to see her head roll." She steps closer, calling him an idiot. He chose friendship over money, and now she says it's time for him to be deleted from the game. That witch stands in the sunlight, mocking him, saying from now on, every time he logs in, he won't be able to make any progress. They'll keep his body trapped there, and kill him every single time. Even someone like him, insanely experienced in the game, wouldn't be able to escape. And she knows full well that in real life, he has nothing. This game is all he has, so losing it means losing everything. Going back to being a nobody. Harkin tries to stand and fight, but he has no HP left. Blood pours out. They already stabbed his chest, but now the arm, the other arm, the stomach. Come on, that wicked woman still has the nerve to say thank you. Those guys betrayed their buddy just because of her. They're scum. I take back every compliment. Harkin's barely holding on, asking, "Why are you doing this to me? I did so much for our guild." His face is destroyed, but all he asks now is to be finished. They were hurting too, going through with this. But for hundreds of millions, they were hired to kill him. How could they refuse? Our protagonist couldn't believe it. All for mere coin. They have no idea how much he'd already done for them. Worth more than any fortune. They once called themselves family. As he fades into black, all he saw were their cold faces staring back. Then, system messages flooded his vision. "You have died. Warning, lockout for the next 48 hours. He awakens in his capsule, back in his room, completely broken. Somehow, he'd truly lost everything in the game. It must be a hardcore mode. You die, you lose it all. The game was called Warlord. Upon its launch, it exploded worldwide. The game with AI and the potential to earn insane money. Across the entire world, if he excelled at one thing, it was playing that game. In the real world, people always called him worthless. But one man saw him slay a goblin and asked his level. The guy was powerful. He offered his hand, asking if Harkin wanted to start a guild. He said they could work together and become strong. Harkin saw that world as the one place he finally belonged. But now, he vows there's no way in hell he'll forgive those fiends. He grabs his jacket, storms out, yelling he'll find them in real life, and end every last one. The revenge arc has officially begun. But obviously, when he tries to call them, nobody picks up the phone. He seethes that those wretched souls don't deserve peace after what they did. And then, it comes. The green light, the truck, the blinding headlights, the classic scene you've seen before. That's right, the infamous truck coon finishes our hero, and not just any truck, a garbage truck, of all things. What an utter disgrace. What a humiliating way to perish. Bleeding out, He sees his phone on the ground, the call failing, a message saying the number is unreachable. He can only think, of all the trucks in the world, why a garbage truck? Face down on the pavement, he groans that, no, he can't die like this. Not now. Not after being betrayed so completely. Not before taking revenge on those traitors and that damned woman. Then, a classic flash of light. A system screen appears, connecting, verifying player progress. Welcome, Harkin. Complete the tutorial and survive the labyrinth of the Minotaur. Instantly, Harkin knows this is Warlord, but this is a tutorial mission. What the hell is happening? Someone nearby shouts at him, yelling for the new guy to wake up and focus. They have a Minotaur to kill. Several players were already dead, and clearly, this challenge was nearly impossible. Harkin rises, wondering aloud why the Minotaur is even in the tutorial. That thing was patched out years ago for being impossible. His teammate looks at him, confused, asking what he means. Warlord only launched 10 months ago, and that fact hits Harkin like a truck all over again. He just repeats to himself, 10 months, 10 months, 10 months, while reaching for his sword. The other players are trying to strategize, talking about signals and timing, but they see Harkin is already charging, running straight into the fray. They scream, asking if the guy is insane. What, are you trying to die? The Minotaur swings its axe, but just then, with a single glance and a series of perfect slashes, Harkin carves it to pieces. The beast collapses instantly. The other players are just stunned. Who is this guy? How did he kill that monster in a single assault? They approach him, impressed, and say, hey man, you've got real talent. I don't offer this to just anyone, so why not join my guild? But Harkin feels nothing. He rises, saying he made a decision not long ago. They ask him, what decision? And he slashes one of them across the chest. Just like that. What the hell? He tells them plainly he's not trusting anyone in this life. Not again. From this moment on, he walks alone. The hero slayer, Harkin, had returned. He exits the VR capsule and looks around, realizing he's in a gaming cafe or an expo. I'm not sure why, but I love these types of stories. Where the virtual world bleeds into the real world, where the currency you earn online actually impacts your real life. I don't know, it just feels different. And that's when Harkin remembers 5 years ago he was dirt poor, broke, and utterly ruined. Utterly ruined. The only way he could play was by haunting these shops, which confirms it. He had truly returned. So, what now? The dude's laser-focused. He drops the headset and storms out the door like a man possessed. He has 5 years of future knowledge. Wielded correctly, his vengeance is assured. Right away, he slaps his credit card down and says, I want the V model delivered to my home. Now, the woman at the counter says, sure, but how does he plan to pay? Wasn't he destitute? She literally calls him out cold. You have no money, you broke down loser. The look on his face says it all. He ran all this way just to realize the obvious. Then he slaps his forehead, remembering the life he'd just left. Of course, he had no money. If he did, why would he have been gaming in a dive like this? So now the question is, what the hell is his next move? The problem now is he has the knowledge but no capsule to play. And the more time he wastes, the further behind he will fall. Then, a voice echoes through the room asking what he is waiting for. It's hers, Seers, saying the strong do not fear challenges, and hesitation is a luxury not allowed in battle. They should rise above their fear and become true warlords. Ranked number 1 in the world, Thunder Queen Seer. Wait, hold up, she's been the top since the very beginning. Of course, it had to be this very woman our boy wants to erase more than anything else. Right. Then he turns, admitting she's right. This is no time for hesitation. We cut to him at home. The capsule is already there. The tech who installed it says everything is installed and ready, and he's heading out. So, how'd he get the money? Obviously, like any resourceful person would, from a loan shark. Even better, it's a loan shark who specializes in gamers who want VR capsules. The least suspicious guy in the world is right there saying, if it's 10 million you need, I've got you. Of course, he still slams a knife between Harkin's fingers and warns him, if he fails to pay back, life will become a living hell. Still, Harkin accepts the deal. He's ready to walk through hell itself. If that's what it takes to get his revenge on those fiends, he immediately logs in, and the system begins identifying the user. Confirmed. Harkin, welcome to the world of Warlord. You know, looking at him, this dude really does resemble Jack Frost from that animated movie, The Ice Guy. He stands there, waiting. It's been a while, but she should appear soon. If I remember right, her name was Ari. And just like that, there she is, the goddess herself. Man, the art for the women in this story is on another level. She has that subtly demonic aesthetic going on. She introduces herself as Ariadne and says she'll be assisting him with his career. That's probably the most unique sounding name I've ever seen in a manhwa. But hey, let's roll with it. She holds out her hands and tells the adventurer to choose a starting class. He has 3 to pick from. First is the warrior. They are frontline fighters, a class for action seekers. Harkin knows warriors are solid. He's played one before, but the problem is, they're not ideal for solo players. She starts to explain the cleric class, but he immediately passes. No way in hell is he playing support for anyone. She seems to understand. All right, fair enough. only one remains. Then she wishes him a good adventure. So, what's the last one? Probably mage, right? It doesn't even show the choice on screen apparently, but I'm guessing that's the one. The next thing he knows, an old man floats on a book, welcoming the young seeker of knowledge. His name is Gulo, and he is here to guide him on the path of magic. The old man begins explaining the types of magic, but Harkin immediately cuts him off. He wants to learn dark magic. This clearly doesn't sit well. Gallo says he must have misheard. You mean magic, right? It has to be that. Harkin insists he is there for dark magic. Gallo warns him. You better think twice, boy. Dark magic is powerful, sure, but it will corrupt your soul. Harkin doesn't even flinch. He says he understands the risks, and just wants to learn. He knows this is precisely what he needs. Right away, the old man's demeanor changes. His face twists, revealing a skeleton. Very well then, he says. It's been long since one chose this path. If you are truly ready, all you must do is place your hand on this skill book. But the skeleton warns him again. Choose wisely, for this path is not easy. Before he can even finish speaking, Harkin smashes his fist down. The skeleton just cackles, a grim joke. And just when I thought this echoed solo leveling, I never imagined it would be this blatant. In Harkin's own words, I saw a necromancer player soloing bosses. And right now, for a man bent on solitary revenge, that's the absolute power he requires. And with that grim resolve, he becomes a necromancer. Title, Innate Necromancer. Skill gained, Skeleton Fragment. He invokes it instantly. A small skull materializes in his palm. He lets it fall, and bones begin to drink his mana, slowly knitting themselves together before his eyes. His first summon is a success. This part is morbidly fascinating. He crafts the skeleton, feeds it mana, and it becomes a bony brute. Harkin declares it's time to level up. He seeks the training grounds, but a clatter sounds behind him. He turns. The skeleton's skull has already rolled off its spine. He stares, wondering how this thing broke so fast. Stepping through a portal, face in his palm, he realizes, this class will be a brutal grind. The skeletons in that video were terrifying. Why is his a grinning cartoon? He checks his skills and sees the truth. Proficiency, rank F. He can only summon a single skeletal warrior. He instantly grasps. His low proficiency is the limit. It's time to grind. Growls echo as a wolf pack approaches training mobs called charcoal wolves. They're meant to be weak. For Harkin, they're the perfect test for his new summon, to see what it's made of. He summons it again, sending the bony thing charging. Detecting a foe, it shifts to combat mode and roars. But how can a skeleton even roar? It has no lungs. But then, it's a skeleton. Logic dictates it shouldn't move without muscles either, so we'll ignore that. The wolves recoil, and Harkin commands the attack. The bone warrior charges forward, and it's not half bad. It performs better than expected. At this rate, Harkin thinks, he'll level up fast. Then reality strikes. His skeleton is obliterated in one swipe. Just gone. He stands there, stunned that his only skill can't defeat the game's weakest monster. The skeleton collapses into pieces at his feet. Harkin is not amused. He glares at the system, knowing something is wrong. Then he sees it. He could have chosen attack, defense, or special mode. Harkin resummons it, selecting defense mode. The problem is, the wolves are already playing fetch with its bones. The poor thing can't even form, so Harkin tries special mode, just to see, and the skeleton starts dancing. At that moment, he realizes the video he saw was complete bait. He chose the worst class imaginable. His entire revenge scheme is crumbling. He's so desperate, he tries to delete his account. But accounts under 3 months old can't be deleted. He can't change classes, switch characters, or restart. And on top of it all, he has loan shark problems to handle. He's ready to meet another truck and just start over. Why does nothing ever go right for him? He truly believed things were finally looking up. But this damned bonehead is completely useless, just throwing pathetic little punches. He screams at it to stop moving. The noise is driving him mad. That's when he recalls something from the system info. The summoned creature has an advanced combat learning system. He remembers that while he was fighting those wolves earlier, his skeleton was just standing there, holding its own skull, watching him, likely learning his movements. He rises and says, "That thing is lucky to have me as its teacher." He may not look it, but many called him a genius, even his former guild. He trained most of the top-ranking players. The first lesson for the skeleton was simple. In combat, if you don't dodge, you die. And so, it takes a fist square to the skull, sent flying onto its back. Yet the bonehead rises cheerfully, ready for another to the jaw, only to be slammed into the wall again. Harkin roars at it to quit being an imbecile and just taking the hits. If you're going to absorb the attack, you'd better counter or something. You can't just tank every blow. He demands to know if the skeleton understands. It wipes its face, resets its stance, and prepares. The scene cuts to another battle. This time, they face the wolves again. But now the skeleton crouches, dodging an attack, and slices one under the throat and another through the gut. Not only is this guy a necromancer, he's a damn monster trainer. And now the skeleton stands there, sparkling, looking at him like a proud puppy. Harkin tells it to cut that look out. They're still in combat. There's no time for distractions. But he admits that last move wasn't half bad. Proficiency with skeleton fragment has increased. That message flashes 3 times as they both erupt in a golden glow. Harkin says, "You passed the test," just as he levels up. Then the scene shifts to Fig's castle in the beginner's area. As he moves through the streets, players are chattering about joining guilds, calling each other family, and partying up to hunt in the spider forest. All that early game noise. Harkin walks through, thinking it was probably worth the effort to teach that skeleton how to fight. Soon, he'd be clearing dungeons solo. But the true challenge begins now, reaching level 10. Suddenly, something catches him off guard. A beefy guy grabs his arm, demanding an apology for bumping into him. Harkin instantly recognizes them as low-level thugs. The men are yelling and talking tough, but he's already ignoring them, wondering if he should just wipe them out right now. One gets enraged when Harkin scoffs and winds up to punch him. But out of nowhere, a tan, blonde-haired man appears and blocks the attack. He says, "Just 'cause the kid bumped into you doesn't mean you can beat people down." This dude has that soloing vibe. He reminds me of that American guy who shows up shredded and ready. The thug asks if Blondie is with Harkin, and he replies, "Nope." But judging by Harkin's expression, this guy is no joke. His arms bulge with veins, and he radiates a strange, cool energy. This bastard is none other than Chev the Slayer. Sounds kind of Mexican, right? He's one of the highest-ranked warrior class players. Harkin has no idea what he's doing here. He tries to speak, but the thug spits on the ground and tells Chev to move if he's not with the kid. They have business to finish. Chev doesn't seem interested in that at all. He just flares his aura, and instantly the chubby dude, and even Harkin, begins to tremble. Harkin has no stats yet, after all. Chev says he'll need payback because the guy just struck his palm. One of the goons behind the fat guy suddenly blurts out, "Wait, that's Chev the Slayer, guildmaster of Red Bull. That's one of the top 30 guilds." Okay, top 30 isn't that impressive, but he's known for being addicted to fighting. Someone tries to ask what a guy like that is doing here, but Chev only wants to know one thing. You want to keep fighting or not? The thug folds immediately, stammering an apology, and running off as if his life depended on it. Chev laughs and says, "Man, this world's amazing. You can solve everything just by talking." He slaps Harkin on the shoulder and says, "Hey there, you baddest little punk. You good?" But Harkin shoves his hand away and walks off, telling him not to bother trying to help. Chev is left standing there, confused, trying to understand why that kid is so cold. Meanwhile, our boy is already speeding away, putting as much distance between them as possible. For a moment, he actually felt cowed by that overwhelming power. He knows it's because this new body lacks any stats yet, but he swears the next time they meet, he'll be someone completely different. And let's go. Time for a dungeon run, right? Except no. We cut to him just sitting there, sad and shaken. The power gap was absurd. He and Chev were practically on the same level back then, and obviously, if he wants revenge, he'll need to get much stronger. Just then, a flamestone wolf charges him from above, but out of nowhere, his little skeleton ally dives in with a lance, slamming the beast to the ground. He lands the final blow, and levels up. His minion sparkles, beaming at Harkin, who scoffs that 3 days to reach level 10 was far too slow. Instantly, the skeleton deflates. The system's praise is cold comfort. With that, the training dungeon was finally empty of monsters. His beginner tag is officially gone. Starter rewards now transferring. The Warwatch interface materializes on his wrist. Quests, map, inventory, messages, it's all there. He's ecstatic. He lives for this moment, gazing at his own status window, and it's as pathetic as he expected. Level 10. Class Necromancer. Strength 3. Stamina 3. Intelligence 5. Mana 5. The system prompts him to distribute stat points, but he hesitates. This is where the madness begins. A necromancer should raise mana and intelligence, yet he dumps it all into strength. Boom. Strength skyrockets by a staggering amount. He glows with a powerful aura, clearly pleased with his choice. Meanwhile, his skeleton is devastated. Its master raised no mana, meaning the poor thing won't get any stronger. It's actually weeping. Harkin smacks its skull, telling it to snap out of it. He hasn't abandoned being a necromancer. What it must understand is that, for now, boosting mana is useless. Early on, strength makes a bigger impact. Plus, he needs power to transfer his own skills to the skeleton. The truth is, he is betting everything on the skeleton's potential to learn. And just like that, the minion sparkles again, visibly moved. Harkin orders it to get its bony frame back to training. Besides, there are ways to compensate for lacking stats. We cut to the Hunters Association in Figus. A man flashes his card. A new quest just dropped. Everyone scrambles for it, having waited since yesterday. Meanwhile, Harkin walks past, thinking these quests are worthless. It's almost pathetic watching them fight over scraps. He approaches the counter. "Hey there, got any quests? Mind if I see the list?" The dwarf replies, "Sure, lad, but the ones on this table are the absolute toughest. Nobody's had the nerve to take them. Are you sure you're ready?" Harkin looks. He sees nothing but garbage. But with his future knowledge, he knows a hidden treasure awaits. A quest in the Bucas Mountains. Objective: eliminate all creatures. Reward: 10 gold. The old dwarf warns him, You sure, lad? It's low level and pays almost nothing. But Harkin accepts instantly. He knows clearing this quest before level 15 grants the Prospect title. Titles are a key way to gain stats, and Prospect boosts intelligence and mana by percentage, the perfect start for his overpowered build. Once outside, he mutters that all he's lacking now is equipment. Cut to the Bucas Mountains, where he's decked out in clown attire, clown shirt, bunny helmet, and bare boots. He looks absolutely ridiculous. This is a truly cursed look. Harkin, however, is utterly devastated by this abysmal outfit. It's painfully obvious why. He had no money left for himself after pouring everything into his skeleton. Now, what choice does he have? This is the life of the destitute. He must finish this quest quickly to afford decent gear. As he runs, he mutters that he needs to finish before anyone sees him like this. Suddenly, a bloody hand emerges from the bushes. It's a mangled man, begging for help. He looks like another victim of party betrayal. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the same region, another player emerges, clad in gleaming, expensive armor. He shouts his intent to clear the Bucas Mountains. The guy's so arrogant. I have real talent. I'll be a top ranker in no time. Then, a nearby voice cries for help, claiming his friend is hurt. He rushes over, asking what's wrong. The man says, a wolf attacked them. We barely escaped and have no healing potions. The trap is set. The poor fool pulls out a potion, telling them not to worry. I've got you. The man thanks him, promising to pay him back. But as he speaks, a second man sneaks up and brutally smashes a club into his skull. The killer coldly offers his thanks, vowing to put the victim's gear to good use. The dying player, bewildered, asks why, calling them cowards. But the man just scoffs, calling him an idiot for falling into such an obvious trap. Player Multi has been eliminated, and his war watch drops. Damn. This game truly is that brutal. You perish, you lose your gear. That's it. The group erupts in laughter, saying it's always satisfying to gank some paying newbie. One of them wears 30 watches up his arm and declares it's time to find their next prey. This was the PK guild, known as the Ralph family. Meanwhile, our protagonist and his skeleton are deep in the forest, fighting wolves. This game is super realistic, just like countless other MMOs. You have the regular wolf, then the blue wolf, red wolf, purple wolf. Same model, just stronger and a different color. Harkin snaps his fingers and switches his skeleton to attack mode. The bunny-like beast goes berserk, slashing everything in its path. The warrior skeleton fells an ancient tree wolf, earning 375 XP. Harkin notes that these wolves are now nothing to his little monster. It was definitely worth investing all his equipment into it. Tearing up slightly, he declares. A true gamer doesn't care about aesthetics. What matters is efficiency. The skeleton stands there, clearly feeling the heartfelt sentiment. Harkin snaps at it to stop being dramatic. They still have mobs to clear. But then, a twang, a glow from the side, and bam, the skeleton takes an arrow to the head. It stands there, hand on its skull, as if thinking, damn, I just took an arrow to the dome. Then, the group approaches. Yes, it's the Ralph family. The mage steps forward, apologizing, claiming he mistook the skeleton for a monster from a distance. He says, sorry again. And Harkin replies that, it's fine. But he's no fool. He's already spotted their blood-stained weapons and the stack of watches on the man's wrist. More than enough to know their game. Still, bold as ever, Harkin says he'll forgive them on one condition. They give him a mana potion. The mage claims that's too bad. They don't have any potions. But hey, leveling up restores mana anyway. So, if Harkin wants, they could help him grind a little. Harkin asks if he's sure. The man nods. Yeah, it's our fault. The least we can do. They murmur. Look at that. Monsters spawned at the perfect time. We'll weaken them, and you just land the finishing blows to get the XP. Sound good? Our boy agrees, and as the man turns, he whispers to his crew to remember the plan. First, they would aggro the monsters and draw them in. Then, the guy with the fringe would cast a buff on the wolves, making them stronger. And finally, they'd let one beast break formation and charge the kid, catching him off guard to finish him on the spot. If this were a generic *** level up Manhwa ***, it might have worked. But their smug little setup crumbles when they see the skeleton. It absolutely wrecks one wolf in a single strike. Harkin praises it, genuinely impressed. That was a clean kill. Nice job. Keep it up. You guys are a big help. Now the trio realizes, crap, this guy can handle himself even against buffed monsters. So they escalate, unleashing multiple wolves in his direction, hoping the chaos will overwhelm him. While he's focused forward, they move in from behind, swinging a club straight for his head. It looks like a fatal blow, but Harkin just crouches, dodging it cleanly. Then, with one fluid motion, he slashes, and the man's mask rips off as his body is torn open. The other two freeze. Then, with a snap of his fingers, Harkin sends the skeleton charging. The blue beast sprints like hell in its adorable lion paw boots. The two scream, begging him to wait, saying they can talk, but it's too late. Holes in their chests, crimson on the grass. The skeleton takes one, Harkin takes the other, and their bodies hit the ground. Our protagonist speaks coldly. You are the kind of people I despise the most. Scum who stab others in the back. the old him might have fallen for this, but too bad. He is not that person anymore. One of them offers to return the items to be spared, but Harkin just apologizes. He doesn't trust anyone anymore. Then, a slash straight across the throat. Player Ralph has been killed. 8 more watches drop to the ground. Harkin is stunned. That bastard had ended 8 other players. Such a shame. Now he's stuck with all these lovely items. Truly tragic. As he says this, the skeleton is busy stomping the guy's remains. Cute on the outside, a savage hunger lurked within. Our boy questions why his prized skeleton is acting this way. He places a hand on its skull, transferring some gear. The small creature instantly brightens. Now fully armed and gleaming with joy, it even blushes, overwhelmed by its new equipment. Harkin tells it not to fixate on appearances. In this world, what truly matters are stats. This, coming from the man who just embraced his own high-fashion look. The skeleton stared as if to say, "You clearly care," but Harkin was thrilled. Those unclaimed war watches were a goldmine. When you sell a dead player's watch, a random item from their inventory drops. So what did he get? Dark Goblin Pants, Moose Mana, Intelligence, Ancient Tree Essence Sword, more mana buffs, a Demonic Curse skill book, and actual gold, a better haul than most dungeons. An absolute jackpot. And with all that, he finally found what he sought. A creepy, ugly mask. He slaps it on, looking utterly cringe, and declares, "From now on, I'm recording all my gameplay. Having an identity is crucial." In that instant, he recalled someone else who once uttered the exact same words. A man he discussed going viral with, wearing a mask for branding. They had joked about naming it the Ha-Ho mask. Back in the present, Harkin declares the game has changed. He wants no one else entangled in his life, and this mask will be the symbol of his solo path. Well, a semi-solo path, as he's still battling alongside his skeleton. They leap through a portal, entering the dungeon in the Bucas Mountains. And as I mentioned, look at him in that mask. The man desperately needs a hide equipment option. Now, he's hunting blue werewolves, the standard mobs of this region. It is certainly not easy, but with his current gear, he's feeling confident. Another sprint with the skeleton, and after a few hours, the big guy gives a thumbs up. They hadn't encountered a single monster the entire time. Harkin sits, clutching his head, muttering, "None of this makes any sense. If someone had already cleared this dungeon, I would have received a notification. So, where are all the monsters?" That's when he spots the skeleton slashing at a wall. As he approaches, he discovers a dark portal. A message appears. "You have discovered a special dungeon. Do you wish to enter?" Oh boy. Here we go again. He's about to stumble into the statue room and meet a grim fate. These dungeons hidden inside other dungeons are typically far more difficult, but the rewards are exponentially greater. The catch is, once you enter, you either conquer it, or you perish within. And let's be real, I have never witnessed a protagonist back down from one of these. But even Harkin admits the smarter move might be to leave. If he dies, he's locked out of the game for 2 days, which would utterly shatter his progress. Still, he enters anyway, of course. He reasons all he has to do is clear it, and he'll be fine. Sunlight blasts his face as he finds himself standing in the center of a coliseum. Instantly, he gets a gut feeling that something terrifying is approaching. The ground begins to tremble. Then, ahead, a massive werewolf with 3 eyes appears. A corrupted creature. Its level is a series of question marks. It seems Harkin knows what it means when something is labeled as corrupted. But before he can react, the beast's claw is already hurtling toward his face. He manages to block it, but is sent flying backward, crashing hard into the wall. The skeleton, poor thing, barely has time to process the situation, but it still assumes a position, ready to fight. Meanwhile, the lunatic werewolf is laughing, wondering how he became so fortunate. Corrupted creatures are linked to the game's main quest line. Harkin calls out to his skeleton, declaring that if they manage to kill this thing today, they're skipping dinner. Once more, they charge forward. The skeleton provides a launch assist, flinging him into the air. The werewolf powers up, fangs bared, poised to strike. But Harkin unleashes a new skill. Inflict Curse. The monster's 3 eyes glaze over as if hypnotized. Where did our boy go? You might not know what just happened. Suddenly, slash. He severs the werewolf's arm cleanly. The beast roars in agony as its stats fall by 10%. I mean, losing an entire arm is definitely worse than a 10% stat drop. Except now the damn thing regenerates its arm. Okay, yeah, that 10% debuff suddenly seems like a much better deal. It charges again, now in a rage mode. Harkin draws his sword and says, "Special dungeons are never easy. I was saving this for later, but the time has come." He taps his war watch and activates a slot. A dark, cyan aura begins to surge around him, forming a swirling orb of energy around him. What the hell just happened? Where did that power erupt from? The kid just went full beast mode. You see, this system slot is a unique feature of Warlord. When activated, players draw power from the world itself, manifesting a kind of supercharged form. This form, however, varies by player, and apparently, you don't get to choose it. Because of the massive boost it provides, people call it ultimate mode. The giant werewolf charges in, jaws open, but Harkin sidesteps with perfect timing. The creature can't land a single hit. Harkin dodges everything like a seasoned acrobat. Another claw swipe. He steps back, muttering, "This is what I expected from a boss. The power, the speed, the reflexes, everything's on another level." Judging by this thing's raw strength, he figures he could survive maybe 3 hits, at most. But that's not how this is going to end. He slashes again. The monster groans in pain, and he grins. This is what makes the game thrilling. But his expression suddenly shifts. The werewolf stomps the ground with its full force. Oh, crap. He's suspended midair, hand on his face, muttering, "I forgot about the rage phase." But the werewolf had also forgotten something. Look who's charging in. The skeleton. It's back on the counterattack, tearing the beast's arm clean off. Harkin shouts for it to use the move they've been practicing. The werewolf flinches, startled, and the two of them dash in. 1 slash each. Man, they really love that glowing blue slice. And this time, oh yeah, that cut went deep. There's no way it's getting up from that. Honestly, our boy is a humble necromancer. I mean, really, all he has is 1 skeleton. I was saying this would be a copy of any other *** level up manhwa ***, but so far, it's doing its own thing with a flashy gamer style. The mission is complete. B-Mave subjugated. He earns 10 gold. The skeleton, for defeating such a powerful enemy, receives a fragment to promote to rank E. Harkin also gets 20,000 gold and a werewolf pelt. That feels like a lot of gold, doesn't it? On top of that, he obtains the Corrupted Tracker's necklace, plus 18 to all stats, cannot be sold, and its tier, chronic, which is even higher than unique. When he sees the name Corrupted Tracker, something seems to click. He recognizes it. Then 3 new titles are registered: Promising Newcomer, Boost Intelligence, and Magic. Hero Challenger grants more stamina. The Corrupted Tracker's title, Special Effect, is unclear. Harkin realizes this is all tied to the first chapter of the main quest line, The Count of Corruption. The main quest is the very backbone of Warlord's story, the foundation of the entire game world. Because of that, the rewards are always insane, and every player wants to be part of it. It is the game's core content and the most valuable thing to pursue. Back in his previous life, Harkin only got involved around Chapter 4, but now he's shaking, stunned that he's already triggered it this early. He smiles, says he just found a gold mine, and logs out on the spot. Back in reality, there's a news feed. The Hydra Guild has officially entered the final chapter of Count of Corruption and aims to complete it within 3 months. Harkin stares at the screen, devastated. The quest he just unlocked is already on the verge of being finished. He knows this is a complete waste. Maybe he should just give up and start preparing for the next chapter. But then his expression changes. He remembers something. This might actually be a rare opportunity. The entire game world is hyper-focused on this storyline. The hype is at its peak. Of course, no one wants to ignore the first main quest in a game like this. But what if a video tied to this quest dropped right now? It could blow up, go completely viral. And since he's been recording everything, he has the footage. All he has to do is upload it to YouTube. The problem is, he needs an editor, and there's only one person for the job, the one known in his past life as the god of editing. Their name is Romani. Now, I'm honestly a little confused. I don't want to assume their gender. Let's wait for something more solid. Could just be a really soft-looking guy with pink hair. They receive an edit request from some level 15 noob, and think it's hilarious. Yeah, I'm just gonna use they for now. That glossy red lip might still belong to a dude. They assume it's just some spoiled kid with too much money trying to flex with a fancy video, but when they actually watch it, their face changes. Now they're all smiles, claiming this is precisely what she sought. Her name is Romy. In-game, she's called Hellmouth. The scene shifts to a towering skyscraper, where another girl appears. Oh no, her identity is instantly clear. You're that Thunder Witch, aren't you? She summons her assistant, demanding a full report on the video. A level 15 player single-handedly took down a corrupted werewolf. The man tells her the team already investigated, dismissing it. The werewolf was merely low level. But with a defiant pout, she repeats her command. I want him. Bring that boy to me now. It's her, unmistakably, Chelium, the #1 ranked player and Thunder Queen. Not long after, Harkin is in a state of shock. The video he uploaded to his channel, with literally 0 subscribers, has already hit 6,000 views. Finally, a story that treats view counts with some realism. Some tales pretend a nobody uploads one clip and suddenly has 70 million subs. If only reality worked that way. Harkin, remaining humble, even notes, in my past life, it took me months and months to reach this. Meanwhile, Roman is already messaging him, asking if he's seen the numbers. The fact she reached out first after editing shows she's at least somewhat invested. He replies dryly, yes, I saw it. A clear move to shut her down, but she tries to take credit, saying, it's insane, that's the kind of talent I possess. Although she does add, of course, his footage wasn't bad either. Cue the red roses. It seems Harkin assumes she is a man. Or perhaps she is. This world is a dangerous place. He lies down in his capsule while she texts again, asking when the next video is dropping. The problem is, he has no idea how to pull that kind of attention again. It's not like you can find a corrupted creature on any given day, but as the old saying goes, you must strike while the iron is hot. Time to find something new to upload. One more person impressed by the masked kid video is Chevlayer. The only thing bugging him is this masked guy feels eerily familiar. Then we meet her. Hey there girl. Yella, a member of the Red Bull Guild. She asks what he's talking about. He brings up the masked kid. She tells him to stop watching it so much. Of course, he thinks the guy's familiar, given how many times he's rewatched that clip. Chev admits he knows that, but something still feels off. He's fired up. See, when someone starts this game, they're usually hesitant, they're stiff. They don't move like they do in the real world. But that kid, he moved like a professional. Even his summon looked like it had been trained. He keeps rambling, and Yella cuts him off. Okay, I get it. Can you shut up for just 1 second? She shoves him, saying they need to go. They're going live in 5 minutes. He turns and tells her he always appreciates her. She just rolls her eyes and tells him to get out there and put on a decent show. The stadium is absolutely packed. More than 200,000 people bought tickets. 200,000? Seriously. All just to watch Chev, the leader of Red Bull. He'd better be careful. That name's probably copyrighted too. The gates are about to open. He equips his armor. 3, 2, 1. He calls out to the team and sends them into battle. Meanwhile, back in Figus, our boy's feeling hopeless again. The mission he wanted is already gone. All that's left are basic tasks like clearing blighted soil or killing 3 wolves that wandered into the city. Obviously, he needs something better. Something worth recording. A true level-up manhwa in the making. Then the old guy shows up. Well, isn't it the adventurer who took the Bema quest yesterday? Name's Harkin. Got a minute? In a separate room, Harkin says he's heard everything. He already knows Harkin was the one who met that mutant inside Bema cave. Harkin is a bit thrown. He doesn't remember triggering some kind of secret quest or interaction like this. Still, he admits it. Yeah, I saw the werewolf with those weird eyes. Harkin nods, just as he suspected. Kid, there's a high chance you ran into a creature exposed to corrupt power. We still don't fully understand who or what they are, but it's clear something's affecting these monsters, driving them insane, and it's obviously getting adventurers killed. He's about to ask for help when Harkin grabs him by the arm. Full drama mode. You can count on me. I'll give everything I have for this country. I love this nation, and I'll slay these terrible creatures. Yeah, he's laying it on thick, all just to get that secret quest. Harkin says it's still too soon for that kind of responsibility. But Harkin insists that it's not too soon at all. It's actually the perfect moment. Waiting was a death sentence for others. So, Harkin finally relents, saying if that's his conviction, he will grant him a chance to prove it. There is a man named Ahimri at Bangsu Castle, east of Figus. Harkin provides a letter of recommendation to learn from this individual. The item instantly appears. Teachings of Ahimri. He just needs to find the man and deliver the letter. A second later, Harkin shouts he's at the door. He's electrified. He knows exactly who this is and yearns to become his student. He is one of the 7 disciples of the legendary mage Bokin, an NPC of great renown, whom every mage dreams of meeting because his training unlocks some of the game's most powerful skills. Harkin is already bounding away, eager to depart, but he abruptly stops, stating he nearly forgot something he must do first. He cuts to the forest. He calls for the skeleton, casts the summon, and it appears. It seems he still had leftover loot from the last battle. First, he takes the werewolf skull he hadn't sold. The system asks if he wishes to use it to strengthen the skeleton, and he confirms. The skull materializes on the minion's head, instantly boosting its endurance by 2 points. He then pulls out the corrupted tracker's necklace and equips it. All stats plus 18, along with a few class-based buffs. With that, his preparations are complete. He now produces 2 more skeleton fragments and casts them down. Boom. 2 more skeletons, but they are separate from the original. No matching armor, no shared gear, nothing to link them. And for some reason, his first skeleton looks devastated now that it's no longer the only one. The poor thing probably thought it was special. Harkin tells it to get used to it. From now on, they fight as a trio. Damn, our protagonist truly betrayed his skeleton, didn't he? The little guy just wanted to be his one and only. We're back in combat. A giant level 25 forest beast charges in, swiping its claws. Harkin, thanks to his earlier stat boost, dodges effortlessly. He feigns being startled, as if to block an attack. But it was all part of the strategy. His skeleton charges in from above, except this one seems pitifully weak. It gets smacked in the face and sent flying. Harkin is furious. This idiot still doesn't understand blind spots. The skeleton attacks again, only to be slapped even harder and launched across the field. Perkins is like, why did the second idiot just copy the exact failure of the first? Aren't they supposed to learn? Meanwhile, the original skeleton steps up, proud, like it's his turn. And strangely, Harkin is blushing. What the hell? It leaps in with full swagger. Surely this one will succeed. But nope. It takes a hit to the head, and its skull goes flying. Now he's absolutely seething. You imbeciles, he shouts. They just stand there holding their skulls. Ow. Harkin demands to know if they even have brains. Well, technically, no. But still, How long until they learn they can't just take hits head on? At the very least, they should be smart enough to reposition when threatened. If one distracts the enemy, the other should move in from a blind spot. But the skeletons just stand there as if asking, "What's a blind spot?" Harkin is visibly disappointed. He thought leveling up and the necklace would make them easier to manage. But now that there are 3 of them, they seem even worse at teamwork. It isn't that they can't fight. In fact, what he taught the first is passed to the others. But the problem is, until now, he only taught them how to fight alone. So, they have no concept of functioning as a unit. Worst of all, it cost 3 times more mana to keep them active, and the results are far worse than before. So, he rises and says whatever. They hit level 20, which was the goal, so there will be no video for now. He tells those boneheads to get moving. They are going to train all the way to Bangsu Castle. As he watches the skeletons shuffle along, he wonders why. For even a moment, he thought he could just sit back and let them do all the work. That dream of being a chill necromancer, just summoning and relaxing. Yeah, that's not for him. Cut to Bangsu Castle, a lively tavern packed with patrons. A man walks in from the hall, and everyone lights up, swarming him, pulled from all sides, while Harkin watches from the door. To him, they're merely scavengers, players unwilling to grind or grow themselves. They're leeches, the kind he loathes most. A bald man asks if Harkin wants a truly great quest. Harkin just tells him to get lost and screw himself. Damn, the kid has a sharp tongue. He heads for the stairs, presenting Houghton's letter of recommendation, and the guard tells him he may proceed to the 2nd floor. While all the others beg and are blocked, our boy strolls through without a single care. He's hyped to discover what kind of reward a Himri might offer, especially for a secret quest and a rare chance to forge a long-term bond with a legendary NPC. But the room he enters is a disaster, tomes scattered everywhere, utter chaos. From behind a mountain of books, a voice asks his identity. Himri emerges, demanding to know what the kid is doing here. He recalls no scheduled meeting or summons. Harkin is completely blindsided. He never expected the legendary mage to be such a slob. Nevertheless, he introduces himself, stating he came on Houghton's recommendation. Himri eyes him and says, "Well, for your level, you actually seem quite promising. You picked the black mage class, eh? Since you came all this way, here is your reward." Harkin gets 2 skills, Bone Armor and Helm of Madness. He glows red with raw emotion, nearly in tears as he thanks him, but Himri just waves it off. "That's it. Our business is concluded. Now, vanish." But that wasn't what Harkin wanted. He is here to build an alliance with this man. He needs another quest. He tries to reach out, dodging levitating tomes, swearing he will do anything. Then Himri returns and asks, "Anything, you say? All right, then," he says with a grin. That very moment, Harkin gets a new mission, Nest's Egg. The reward? Absolutely nothing, and Harkin realizes it too late. Damn it! I walked right into this bastard's trap. Outside the building now, someone walks by in impossibly expensive armor. Everyone just stops and stares. The gear is clearly top tier and priceless. The man looks around, recognizes the place, and mutters, "So, this is where the H.O. mask is. And who is this guy?" Slam. The door shuts behind Harkin. He's been ejected. He can't believe it. He was actually scammed by a damn NPC. He thought he was unlocking a main quest from a top-tier level-up manhwa. Instead, he's stuck chasing some worthless egg for no reward. He walks away, seething with frustration, when someone gets in his face asking what mission he got. Oh, wait. It's that whole pack of desperate hyenas again. Harkin's just about to unleash hell on them all when someone yells, "Make way!" It's the armored figure, shoving everyone aside. He walks right up to Harkin, asking for a moment for a crucial talk. If I had to bet 1,000,000 gold, I'd say it's that guy Sarah sent to recruit Harkin, the butler-like figure who was with her. Harkin's in no mood, but the man says it would be wise for the one wearing the H.O. mask to have a quick conversation. They retreat into an alley, and the man apologizes for the trouble. It's just that back there was hardly a good place for a proper chat. "Bro, drop some coin in my account, and I'll predict the rest." Even though I know exactly who this suit is and why he's here, Harkin doesn't, not yet. But he knows from the man's armor alone that he's a high-ranking player. What he doesn't know is this man's identity, or how he knows his. The man asks if he is the one they call the H.O. mask. Harkin decides to play ignorant, giving a clueless look, and asking what mask nonsense he's on about. He followed him to this alley thinking the guy wanted a simple chat, but he has no idea what this whole mask business is. The man with glasses says he heard Harkin recently got a quest from an NPC named Himri. Harkin snaps that he's not here to share intel with anyone. Dragging him into an alley like this was already crossing a line. If this guy wants to pick a fight, he's welcome to speak plainly and put his account on the line. The truth is, Harkin's playing the fool deliberately, pretending he doesn't know what is happening. The man with the glasses just stares for a moment, then abruptly lowers his head, extends a hand, and apologizes. Harkin sees the man totally bought the act. He casually shakes his hand, telling him not to be so tense. He's not that menacing. As he walks off, he adds, "I'll overlook it this time, but maybe stop seeking out trouble." The man with the glasses stays silent. Just then, a tall, intimidating woman materializes beside him. She remarks that she doesn't believe that was the person they seek. The man agrees. No chance. The guy was a skilled player. Any experienced warlord knows you never shake with the hand wearing your war watch. He even wiped his hand after, like he touched filth. Seriously? You acted like shaking his hand was a reward. What am I to say to someone like that? The woman, whose design I wish the artist detailed more, asks if they'll continue observing Embry. He confirms. The nest's egg mission is far too critical. They cannot afford any unnecessary risks. Before we can appreciate her design, she has already faded back into the shadows. From his perspective though, he saw it all. He's certain now, these two belong to some secret organization. If they were from a public guild or wanted recognition, they would have introduced themselves. And testing him in such a manner, that's not the behavior of ordinary players. So, who in the hell were those two? Back in the forest, as his skeletons continue their training, Harkin is deep in thought. He is convinced there's more happening here than he currently perceives. There's the egg quest, and the video he uploaded. Those two seemed uninterested in the masked player's identity. They were focused on whoever activated the quest. This means he's now forced to do this mission, with them tailing him. Which is terrible, because he was attempting to maintain a low profile. Chassis Leon alone is already more than he can handle. And frankly, I concur. My man should just run. That woman is far too much. Meanwhile, speaking of her, her secretary, Park Suji, appears, praising her boss's incredible performance today and asking about the recruitment test. It seems her guild is actively recruiting. Celon grumbles that it was an utter disaster. Nothing but worthless applicants. How could none of those useless players be even remotely serviceable? Then Suji brings up the masked boy. She says, perhaps the kid joined another guild, since he never replied to our invitation. That's when Celon snaps, shattering a bottle in her rage. She demands to know which guild took him. Suji apologizes, stating they're still attempting to confirm the details. Celon is indifferent. She orders her to investigate it now. She also wants to know the chairman's opinion. Suji replies he has made no comment yet, and Celon scoffs, saying he's likely silent as long as Warlord performs well. Apparently, that man tried to force her into an arranged marriage when she first expressed interest in playing this game. Bizarrely, Suji is now admiring her boss's physique, casually saying, damn, what a gorgeous figure. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but alright then. Everything is a bit chaotic, but it appears the game's owner, or at least a top executive, was fond of her. Honestly, I have no clue what's happening anymore. All I know is she's dangerous and our boy wants someone dead. That's it. Now, look at him. Staring at his reflection in the water, muttering, it's been a while since he's been here. The Lizard Man's swamp. Since Ambery is over at Bangsu Castle, the quest would naturally take place nearby. And given it's about an egg, it's likely related to a bird, reptile, or insect-type monster. Since he's still a low-level player, he decides to investigate locations matching those criteria that he might survive. The reptile swamp is his only viable option, for better or worse. He summons the skeleton and gives a warning. The monsters here are high-level, so it's best to use the enhancement skill from last time. It's a risky move where you must mark the summon and then unleash its power. Not that I fully understood it either, but he activates the ability, and an ace appears on the skeleton's forehead as it glows bright red. He seems hyped, saying the effect looks cool. Time to test its true strength. He commands the skeleton to attack him, but there's a fatal flaw. The skill has a chance to make the summon lose its mind. And of course, true to Murphy's Law, chaos erupts instantly. The skeleton charges directly at him. Harkin senses the anomaly, landing an uppercut that sends the skeleton soaring. He roars at it not to shriek, wondering if this was just a system glitch. Besides, the strength boost felt underwhelming, making the entire skill feel like a fraud. His thoughts are severed as a level 30 lizard man ambushes him from behind, jaws snapping. He decides this is the perfect opportunity to truly test his new abilities. He unleashes another madness mark, donning the bone armor for added power. His summons now shriek uncontrollably, freezing the lizardmen with terror. Harkin declares that, if that's the case, it's time to charge. And so begins the brawl. A savage 3-on-3. But his skeletal minions flank their blind spot, slicing them apart cleanly. His summon eliminates 3 lizardmen, gaining 864 experience, and leveling up 2 times. Now, the small warriors kneel before their master, and Harkin thinks, alright, this is quite effective. His plan for the week is now set. Grind monsters, level up, and hunt for the egg. But naturally, as he schemes, a shadowy woman watches from the darkness, licking her lips. Of course, this world is full of dangerous women. She steps from the shadows, introducing herself. My name is Ilya. As you can see, I'm utterly gorgeous. It need not be said. No one can resist me. All obey my will. Any problem I face, I simply summon one of my thralls to handle it. And then she trips, face-planting into the moss. Now she lies there bewildered, wondering what manner of hellhole this is, and why she ever came here. Apparently, one of her thralls dragged her here for some foolish reason, only to get himself killed like an absolute imbecile. Now she's trapped, facing monsters far beyond her level, and she cannot charm her way out. That's when she spots him nearby, and yes, she immediately begins tearing her own clothes, her perfect plan forming. Harkin hears a strange scream in the distance. He turns to see this woman stumbling towards him, an absolute mess. All coy and flirtatious, she claims she hurt her ankle because of the frightening monsters, certain he cannot resist the charm of her beauty. And then Harkin simply ignores her and continues walking. She is utterly stunned, thinking, how did he not even glance at me? She begins to plead, calling out to Mr. Necromancer for help. Meanwhile, he's already thinking to himself, another lunatic. But the woman was so enraged, she bit her own lip until it bled, furious that the bastard dared to ignore her. The skeletons were locked in a brawl, while Harkin just stood there, hand to his face. The deranged woman would not stop pursuing him, whimpering that she was dying from the pain and didn't know how she would survive. He attempted to act as if she didn't exist, but apparently she had been shadowing him the entire time, throwing herself at his feet and begging. Wherever he went, she was there. What truly irritated him was that someone like her shouldn't be playing if she just relies on others. So, he decides it's best to deal with her and be done with it. He turns and flatly asks what kind of help she requires. All sweet and innocent, she replies. I dropped my little sword in the swamp back there. Could you please retrieve it? Our protagonist, dry as ever, tells her that once he gets the damned thing, she is to get the hell away from him. She desperately agrees, swearing she will never forget his kindness. But she still has that psychotic look, muttering that she has him now. There it was, the sword, plunged into the middle of a tiny island. She is already thanking him, and he reminds her again to vanish after this. He dispatches the skeletons to retrieve it. They form a makeshift springboard to reach the sword. Meanwhile, she just stands there with that unsettling grin. It turns out she was waiting for him to be without his summons so she could strike. She aims for the back of his head, saying this is what he gets for ignoring a beauty like her. But, before the blow lands, he spins and declares, "You're far too slow." He seizes her by the collar and hurls her directly into the swamp. She screams, calling him a bastard, yelling that when she gets out, she threatens to send her fans after him for the kill, but Harkin just laughs, telling her to look behind her. She turns her head, and, bam, the lizard men have already appeared, and she starts getting trampled. Unfazed, Harkin says, if she's trying to fool him, she needs a better act. He's had enough of being deceived by people like her. He turns his back, calling it a waste of time, and tells his skeletons they are leaving. But when he looks again, those damn things were copying her charm routine. All three had bumps on their heads. He tells them to stop learning weird junk. Just then, a system notification. Player Ilya has died. He's thrilled, not that he expected any points or XP since he didn't technically kill her. He remembers her threat to watch his back, and finds it hilarious, as if she ever possessed such power. But of course, some guys saw that video and were keeping an eye on him. Next chapter, boom. He has already stabbed the first guy. They declare him the enemy of Lady Ilya, and they are here for revenge. Harkin asks, "Friend, can I ask you something? Why go this far for her? It's not like she'll ever do anything for you, so why are you trying so hard?" The heavyset one laughs maniacally and screams, "Because I love her." Harkin just cuts him down, saying, "Yep, you're a weirdo." Now he's recalling all the crap that insane girl pulled. Obviously, after what happened, he threw her in a swamp, and she swore to kill him. He didn't think she'd make a huge scene and send a mob to hunt him down, but she did. She made a whole video claiming the cruel swamp necromancer killed her, and ever since, he's been hunted by self-proclaimed Ilya fans, which is, of course, making his life an even bigger mess. He was already stressed about those other creeps from the alley, and now he has these idiots to handle too. He's starting to wonder if he should just track that woman down and kill her again, just to make all this trouble feel somewhat worth it. But after looting another unclaimed watch, he figures it's not worth the trouble. He gains 5,000 gold and a goblin boot. On top of that, a rare tier accessory, the Necklace of Promise. The item is worth 800,000. Now that's a game changer. That girl really was something. While he's kissing the watch like a treasure, someone else appears, shouting they found Ilya's enemy. And, Harkin. He owns it. Yeah. I'm the bastard that took down that wretched woman. Suddenly, the memory hits. There were about 30 people lined up before him. The heat is on, and he knows there is no way he can handle all of them. Time to run. Glancing back, he wonders how that lunatic gathered so many obsessed weirdos. He then sends his skeleton crew to handle the mob. Obviously, the mob thinks it will be easy. After all, skeletons are just basic necromancer summons, right? But it turns out it's even easier than expected, as the chubby guy yells about the power of love and splits them in two. Not that it's a real skill. The dude's just a creep. Since the game's only been out for 10 months, and Harkin started just weeks ago, most players hunting him are much higher level. After a long run, he finally finds a quiet spot deep within the swamp. With his level still so low, retreating is his only real option. But that's when he notices something odd. Where the hell is he? A purple-hued swamp. He has never seen this area before, not even in his past life. Suddenly, his eyes light up. He has an idea. Next, the wannabe Avengers are in the forest, searching when the large guy spots the skeletons. They're just out there dancing around. all cute and goofy. The group is fuming now. Not only did this bastard kill Ilya, now he's mocking them. The chunky one charges in, screaming that this time there will be no forgiveness. But right in the middle of his dramatic move, something erupts from the lake and interrupts everything. Before he can process what's happening, he's grabbed and swallowed whole. The others instantly recognize it. A diving lizard. That thing is the region's boss. A level 40 monster. And of course, Harkin is off to the side, just watching quietly. He never imagined the nest he'd been looking for would belong to that thing. A boss with absurd defense and HP. Normally, it takes a raid of 20 or more players, all near level 40, to even stand a chance. He recalled a forum post about this beast being slain recently, so its presence here was impossible. But if it's appearing now, someone must have triggered it. Which means if it spawned as he entered, the quest he's hunting must be right here. As the others were being slaughtered, he stood impassively by a tree, thinking that if Henry sent him, it's because that monster believed he could handle it at level 20. A ridiculous notion. Like a plot from a dark level up manhwa. Still, luck had given him a team. Perhaps this could actually work. The Damaku grunts are screaming. Even they know this is far beyond their league. One of them considered suggesting a retreat, but Harkin instantly declared that something like this couldn't just end here. He summoned his skeletons behind him, glaring down at the men with marks on their foreheads. The fanatics realized their path was blocked, but one yelled to just force a path forward, before the lizard's tail slammed him into the air. Now they knew they were trapped. Skeletons on one side, the beast behind. Just then, they spotted Harkin slipping past them, and our protagonist silently thanked his pawns, thinking, "This is the perfect diversion to escape, and I will not forget their sacrifice." While they distracted the creature, the scoundrel made a beeline for the now empty nest. He slipped inside effortlessly and began searching for the egg. The problem was, the damn item wasn't there. He searched everywhere, wondering where it could be. Ah, there it is. It looked like a small stone egg, a purple object. He simply chose the most suspicious-looking item inside. The only issue was, it resembled a rock more than an egg. Just then, the system announced his skeletal warrior's destruction. He knew the monster would be returning after it finished with the intruders. It was time to leave. And just then, the nest's entrance began to crumble. Meanwhile, Harkin was trying to slip out quietly, staying unseen. With the boss back, there was no more time to investigate. So, he decided he would just submit this for the quest and claim it was the egg, regardless of the truth. After all, the reward was practically worthless anyway. Back in the swamp, the reeking party members were all unconscious on the ground. Then, from nowhere, someone approached Harkin again, calling out to him, musing how Warlord was such an interesting game with so much freedom that oddballs like them simply appeared. One man tried to speak, but it was too late. His war watch had already been stolen. Our protagonist said he would make one thing clear. He let them act freely because their antics were amusing, but with his business now settled, he had too much to manage in this game. So, the next time they pursued him, they wouldn't escape so easily. The man trembled as Harkin walked off, seething with rage, muttering that if those fools kept chasing him, he would start a full-scale war with them. But now, it was time to make some coin. It seems he contacted the Bangsu Guild, telling them he spotted the lizard dragon in the swamp. He sold the exact location for 100,000 gold. Later, in Henry's office, he presented the item, saying, "Here is the little egg you requested. You can be certain it is the genuine article." He looked awkward, hoping the man wouldn't suspect a thing, but Henry stared at it as if his life depended on it. Then he declared this was precisely the item he sought. "Excellent work, kid. This is it." And our protagonist celebrated. What a fortunate break. The man even said he expected it would take someone so weak much longer to succeed. And that's when Harkin realized the bastard knew all along and still sent him. So he claimed he gave his all, but now it would be great to receive the next quest, hopefully with a proper reward. But Henry asked if he had any idea what the item was. He explained that in every area with mutated monsters, this is what they find. For now, that's why they call it the Stone of Corruption. Instantly, Harkin was certain that Guy, the knight, and the tall, strange girl, whose skills remained a mystery, were likely after that exact thing. The Stone of Corruption is a vital item tied to the main quest, and odds are, those two were trying to get it from whoever took the mission first. He'd thought he was scanned when he got the thing, and the reward was nothing. He never imagined it was part of the main quest line. Henry apologizes then. He knew it would be too much for the kid. But they're also facing a completely unknown creature, and he needed to test our boy's strength. Navi asks what he thinks. Was he ready to face corruption? Harkin may be weak, but he has willpower. To him, this is just another opportunity. Without hesitation, he strikes his chest, saying he'll give his heart and soul, but Embry shuts it down. Not yet. That crushes the kid's expectations right there. The guy goes on, saying by now he should realize how powerful those creatures are. Someone as weak as him, stuck at level 20, completely useless, is still not helping at all. Our boy, standing there alone trying to explain, but the guy cuts him off, saying, "It's fine. If you say, 'Oh, great mage, Hamry, master of all mages, please let me be your disciple, and I will aid you.'" Look at this bastard making our boy beg and grovel. The door slams. He completes the mission, getting the disciple title. Meaning, yeah, he had to humiliate himself. What could he do? He even got stuck with this card, and the bastards out here act like Lloyd Frontier. Of course, the bastard spent half an hour rubbing it in, making him repeat it. Our boy just wants to go back and punch his face in. The scene switches to the swamp, and the big lizard is just roasted. The knights are all celebrating because their guild finally took down something worthwhile. Then, someone with black hair runs up, saying the guy is way stronger than they expected. And yep, it's the bastard with the glasses. He adjusts them, saying it's no problem. You gave great support. Still, he insists if it had been just their guild, they would have all died. He hands over a little pouch, probably with some coins, and says it's not much, but it's the best they can offer to thank him. But the guy responds that this isn't the promised reward. They say they can pay with that, but he insists he doesn't break rules. The guild guy's confused. He thought this dude showed up just to help, like someone interested in gold or loot. He already thought it was weird that someone ranked so high would get involved, so who is this guy? Then, he walks off, saying he's taking everything that's in the nest. They try to explain there is nothing left, right? The loot drops from the boss, and they already picked it all up. Meanwhile, Glasses guy is thinking he got lucky. He never imagined he'd get a shot at a corruption stone just like that. As soon as he heard the monster had reappeared, he figured it must be because of that masked kid he ran into. But since the lizard was still alive, that meant the item hadn't been collected yet, and the kid must have failed the quest. He strolls into the nest all smug, thinking not everything in life can be done solo. Now, all he had to do was grab the stone, and the mask guy couldn't finish his quest. Obviously, he already looked everywhere and found nothing. He cursed the heavens, screaming that the son of a witch must have somehow taken the item. And then we see our boy, fully focused, saying, "The time has come." After countless days of struggling and telling himself that if he held on a bit longer, things would get better, his time had finally arrived, and it all ends now. The moment to stop begging for instant noodles and finally eat some meat. He's spinning around, celebrating, saying he's been saving up, living off garbage food. But now that he got 100,000, he can finally buy something good. The 100,000 gold he earned converts into 1,200,000 But the moment the money hits his account, it's debited instantly, and he drops to 856. He has no idea what just happened, but the Korean payment system is ruthless. He immediately realizes there's no way it will work out. Right then, he gets a message from Romani, the editor, checking if he's still alive, and if he has given up on being a YouTuber. The poor guy didn't even remember that crazy woman. Problem is, he can't record videos while that weirdo is hunting him, and he's stuck grinding all week. He's pissed off at that woman, and the guy with the glasses messing up his whole life. That is why he hasn't been posting. But he decides, screw those two. He's just an innocent gamer enjoying the game. He's earning cash the only way he can. The scene shifts to a graveyard. He arrives with his skeletal crew. A perfect backdrop. He's breached the Forest of the Dead dungeon. There he is again, in that absurd mask, muttering how this place is always unsettling. For now, it's the prime spot for grinding experience. It'll also attract a ton of viewers, especially with his current plan. He summons his skeletons, telling them to prepare. It's time to hunt. But first, they have a new ally, a key part of his strategy. It's best if they all get along with him. It's a scrawny, awkward, red-hued skeleton, a skill likely gifted by that bastard, Himri. The only problem is its massive mana drain. Still, he tells them to ready themselves. The hunt begins now, and just then, the targets erupt from the ground. A horde of level 33 skeletons emerges. His own crew seems utterly bewildered. How is this possible? Kin? Kin orders the hunt to begin, but his skeletons gesture at each other, as if asking, "Hunt our own kind?" He explains that once battle is joined, they'll see these undead are different. Yet strangely, his small skeletons are cowering, trembling in fear. Our boy cracks his knuckles and roars at them. Their hesitation is a liability. They must level up. The first skeleton charges, slashing the enemy cleanly, but even bisected, the foe's skeleton continues its assault. His own skeleton recoils in fear as Harkin shouts, "You have to understand, normal attacks are useless." He then draws the mage's hammer and pulverizes the thing. It shatters into dust, and he tells his crew, that is how it's done, but his minions just stand there, clutching their heads in shock. He berates them, no more hesitation. The goal is 100 skeletons in 100 minutes. Fail, and you'll all be abandoned here. The instant he speaks, they scatter, crying with tears in their eyes. Soon, status windows begin to flood the screen. You have defeated a skeleton. Your skeleton has leveled up. You have leveled up. And the poor things grind on through their tears. Our boy is smiling. He expected them to take longer to adapt. But honestly, they're performing well. At this rate, the video will be a success. He just has to send it to Romani. But just then, a colossal skeleton materializes before him, a level 35 warrior. And of course, another rare spawn appears, where it absolutely shouldn't. But instead of panicking, he sees a golden opportunity for experience. He charges headfirst, eyes glowing gold, his chance for profit and a decent meal. But mid-charge, a massive axe swing nearly takes his head off. The ground shatters as he evades it by a hair's breadth. The poor guy realized he almost died without landing a single blow, but in that moment, he also shattered one of the monster's arms. The next attack came swiftly, but now, he felt calm. His skeleton crew charged, and the beast was being carved apart. They were all in perfect sync. Look at them. 4 lined up behind him. He asked if they were all right, and each snapped a salute. But our boy thought the fight was over. He didn't see the boss sneaking up behind him, just another feint. He turns, and this little monster has already demonstrated its patience, because he had left some water behind earlier, and now the fireball was primed. The unfortunate boss is blasted from behind, and the skilled warrior is finally defeated. Watching the beast immolate, he's certain this video will get at least 10,000 views. The smell of burning bone just made him hungrier. Isn't it time to finally eat? But of course, there is no rest. The madness continues. The region boss has sensed the death of its underling, and now it's hunting the intruders. A massive sigil appears, and the boss begins to materialize. Damn, this skeleton has presence. It would be incredible if he joined our boy's squad, but clearly, he's not interested. A golden skeleton, level 40. The undisputed boss of the Forest of the Dead, and the first mage-type boss player's encounter. This monster's title is Beginner Slayer. He remembers now. The condition to summon this thing was to annihilate a horde of skeletons. He's unsure if he can win, but this is a goldmine of opportunity. Feeling confident, he states all he must do is buff his skeletons and summon the entire crew. But he looks back, and they're gone. His skeletons were unsummoned, his mana completely drained. He can almost see them waving goodbye, mocking him. A foolish move, with 4 skeletons active and another hurling a massive fireball. Of course his mana would run dry, that leaves him no other choice. It's been a while, but he'll have to handle this himself. He activates the power-up, his aura flaring to life. The skeleton boss readies itself as he declares, "It's go time," and charges in. A sigil appears on the monster's back, glowing ominously. Lasers erupt from it, but he pushes forward, shocked by the attack. Just one direct hit from that could empty his health bar. If this thing maintains this firepower, he can't get close, and victory is impossible. So, first things first. He must stop the next cast. He slams his hammer directly into the monster's hand, a direct hit that cancels the spell. The glowing sigil shatters. He mutters, knowing its hands are linked to every special attack. The key to killing this boss is to break all its hands. The skeleton seems almost surprised he figured it out. And then, a message appears. The region's boss is staring at Hugh. The creature sees through his facade, analyzing his power before unleashing another technique. Purple energy begins to form behind its back. Harkin tries to process it as a giant star materializes in the sky. The monster is charging a catastrophic energy beam. Pure panic sets in. He's never seen this pattern before. What the hell is happening? He sprints, trying to outrun the blast, but it gains on him, launching him away. He has no idea why this boss, one he's fought and beaten many times, suddenly has a new moveset. The ground is torn apart, leaving a glowing purple crater. He racks his brain, trying to remember. This isn't some scripted level-up Manhwa boss that hides patterns or adapts to a player, and of course, since this was an early game boss, his memory of its fight isn't fresh. No skeletons, no knowledge of the attack patterns. How is he supposed to kill this giant standing before him? Another beam flies in, and he decides to just do his best with what he has. He's back to dodging, desperately trying to close the gap. But the problem is that every locked-on laser forces him to change direction. With no time to counter, he searches for a blind spot. But he missteps, stumbling into a fatal error. Oh no, he gets grabbed by the skeleton. It looked like it would bite him, but instead holds him before its maw as a glowing circle forms in its throat. That's when Harkin reveals he has a few cards left to play. He inflicts the demon's curse, weakening the monster's stats by 13%. He manages to break free and leap toward its forehead. He didn't know how he would get a chance for a finishing blow, but the monster practically handed it to him. If that's the case, he'll show his thanks with a punch right between the eyes. The giant skeleton cracks all over. And just like that, he's done it. The monster collapses to the ground. He actually defeated it. The golden skeleton is down, and he earns a ton of experience, over 97,000 gold, and the title, Skeleton Slayer. He stands there, exhausted, admitting that was way too close. He deactivates his skill, and on the status screen, he is now level 36. A vicious grin spreads across his face in celebration, but then, the real danger sinks in. His mana is too low for a summoner. Up until now, he'd managed to keep up, leveling fast and earning titles. But now that he needs to keep multiple skills active at once, it's not enough anymore. He's trained his skeletons, given them gear, but what's the point if they vanish in the middle of a fight? The worst part is he already has every title that boosts mana at this point. After thinking it through, he concludes there is nothing he can do. He'll just send the video to Romani and head home for some beef ramen. Meanwhile, at her place, Romani takes her anger out on a teddy bear, screaming that he's lost his mind or why he's doing all this. Instead, she's practically vibrating with excitement, saying she's never seen a player beat a boss above their level without a single scratch. On top of that, he did it without knowing any of the boss's patterns. She figures she might not even need to edit the footage. The raw video is already pure gold. He wonders what the title should be. The Man Who Commands the Undead, the One-Man Army. But she suddenly decides the title will be Emperor of Solo Play, which is coincidentally the name of the series. Cut to the Hunter Association, and look who's back to face that old bastard again. Our boy feels proud, now that he's stronger, but the mage, of course, wants to know why he looks like a vagrant now. Still, he has what he promised. He completes Imbri's Teachings Part 2 and gets the Book of Osteology. He doesn't even know what that is. Turns out, it's osteology. It boosts all stats of his summoned skeletons by 5% and cuts mana cost by 10%. Huh, what a coincidence. The protagonist gets exactly what he needs. That's when Himri says there's something else for him too. The Ring of the Corrupted Tracker, forged from the very stone he brought. With it, he can now wield corrupted powers as well. It gives him +9 to all stats, which is already insane. And if paired with its matching necklace, it gives another +21 to all stats. What even is that? The kid's drooling over it. This ring is only for those who complete the first main quest. He's already lunging to grab it, greedy as ever, but Himri pulls it back, saying he's not actually giving it to him. It's too valuable. He just turns around and waves goodbye. Harkin is confused. He was just challenged out of nowhere. Why would that guy pull something like that? Then Himri turns back and tells him, "Go on, try to take it." Our boy laughs and charges in, all fired up, saying, "The old man's dead if I actually get my hands on it." A few hours later, he's outside the city holding the ring, muttering that the old man is insane. He swears he'd have killed that lunatic if he weren't an NPC. After finally managing to snatch the ring, the bastard gave him the next quest, saying he had sent someone named Miggy to a castle, and they haven't returned. Classic. But the issue is, the castle of Suyu is a high-level zone. So now our boy has to grind even more before he can head there. That's when a message from Romani pops up. It's urgent news about his video. It's the kind of twist you see in a top-tier level-up manhwa. And, oh man, just when we were praising him, boom, 2.35 million views. What the hell? But only 1,000 likes. Come on, folks, hit the like button on the kid's video. And while you're at it, hitting ours helps more than you know. A video with over 1 million views and barely 1,000 likes is just criminal. Plus, generous people started sending donations. You don't have to, of course, but props to those folks with good hearts. In total, he earned, well, a number with way too many zeros. He falls back in shock, trying to count 3, 4, 8 zeros. The guy's already daydreaming about meat. Filet mignon, ribs, brisket, whatever he wants. Honestly, I respect his taste. Being able to eat good meat every day, that would be the dream. He's drooling, trying to figure out what treasure just landed in his lap. He knew the video would do well, but he never expected this. And the best part is, until now, he was totally focused on leveling up. But seeing how rich he suddenly is, it's logout time. He got a 1 to million donation from the Thunder Guild. They're clearly trying to recruit him. Apparently, they even sent a private message, but he didn't reply. That's the guild, run by none other than the notorious Chase Salion. In his past life, they were just as relentless. Every time he refused to join and entered a dungeon, they'd show up right after to hunt him. Different life now, but the same damn people. And this time, there is no way in hell he's joining them. He even remembers saying something like this in the past. There he is now, hand over his face, muttering how annoying those people are. That woman was far too persistent, even after he turned her down more times than he could count. Not to mention, he already had his own guild. She needed to back off. And that friend of his, yeah, we know by now he's no real friend. The guy with the headband says Harkin's lucky. Thunder Guild is one of the best in the country, even in the top 30. The guild leader is the daughter of some obscenely rich guy. So, joining them guarantees a 6-figure salary. It makes sense. They're hunting talent like Harkin. Every time they post a dungeon video, the comments are all about him. He's seeing how far above them he is, but Harkin cuts them off, telling them to drop the talk. He doesn't care about some 3-figure paycheck. He is also not joining the Thunder Hunters. The wealth comes once they become the strongest, and that is his true prize. Why chase coin now? He'd rather enjoy this game with his guild. The man just stands there, red-eyed, saying, "You're right." But in the present, Harkin can't believe he fed that line to those scumbags. One slap should have woken him to reality. Back in those days, he preached that nonsense to a bunch of traitors. But now, he needs to preach it to himself. This is no time to be thinking about money. There is still so much work to do. It's far too early to get complacent. He is definitely going to use all that coin. But because there are matters to settle, the skeletons are already raised, and our boy makes one thing clear. They will remember he dealt with the Golden One entirely alone, which is precisely why today, every single member of the squad will learn how to train solo too. In the past, his pathetic crew asked if they could take it easy. They whined they didn't need to push so hard, and besides, they weren't as skilled as him. Meanwhile, his skeleton summons were locked in, laser-focused. The boy smirks, saying, "Yeah, this time is different. We are going to become the strongest." Their next destination, the Sioux Castle. Until they arrive, the training will not cease. The training itself was simple. They would run the entire way, and anyone falling behind would be punished. Immediately, the little ones took off, wailing again. And then she appears. Damn, how I despise her, so alluring. I don't know why, but every time this cursed woman appears perfectly drawn, it feels like the creator is trying to make us forgive her. I don't know, man. It's just a gut feeling I get. The figure in the blue cloak asks what Miss High and Mighty is thinking, perched atop that mountain of dragon corpses. He's another Thunder Guild member named Hatch. She descends the pile, says it's nothing, and then asks how things are with the corrupt count. He says, unfortunately, there has been no progress. We still have no clue how to trigger the next quest. Frustrated, Chelium declares they can't let Hydra claim the main quest first. That would be humiliating. Hatch replies they'll figure it out soon, as the leaders of the top 30 guilds are meeting, but she just dismisses it, saying there's no reason to linger with a bunch of failures. As she departs, Hatch reflects on her cold nature and warns the guildmaster to be wary. After all that struggle and coin, there's our boy slamming his bag down and finally settling his debt with the loan sharks. Nami could finally rest without fearing a violent end in the night. His next target, skill books. He acquires a stack. With those two massive burdens handled, he's back to being completely broke. His bank account reads 0. He just stands there, holding 3 tomes, saying, yeah, I was prepared for this, but I still didn't think I'd actually hit absolute 0 again. At least now he can learn the skills and hopefully suffer less. The first skill fuses monster hide to his own to boost defense. After sustaining enough damage, the material would need replacing. He immediately tests it, using the horn taken from that skeleton boss. An armored helm forms, granting him +5 defense. He grabs a sword and slashes his own arm. He's amazed that even striking himself leaves not a single scratch. Next tome, Curse of Sloth, a skill that slows an enemy's movements. The catch? The faster, heavier, or stronger the target is, the more mana it consumes. He glances at a confused skeleton and hits it with the debuff. Seeing the creature crawl in slow motion, he knows it's useful. Time for the final skill, Golem Summon, a power straight from a *** level up Manhwa, ***, the most difficult and most expensive one to acquire, and also the one he coveted most. The ground begins to crack, spooking his skeletons, as he announces he has finally summoned his first one. A massive golem erupts from the earth, and now he finally feels like a true necromancer, with a creature that can actually take a beating. And its best feature, a savage function. Mirror mode. When active, the golem syncs with his movements. If he merges the golem's brute force with his own speed, the results could be insanely effective. He throws a punch, but the golem is motionless. The skeletons seem confused, and he questions why it failed. A bug, perhaps. Then the golem executes the same punch. He gets it then. That was its maximum speed. He laughs, wondering what he's even supposed to do now. But inside, he's screaming, realizing he was completely scammed. The scene then cuts to that massive gathering, the meeting of the top 30 guilds, but the hall is far from lively. Only 4 people appeared. The Ares guild leader, a man named Nergal, thanks everyone for attending. He's an optimist at least. The room was built for 30 people, yet with 4, he's still pleased. Chev notes there are a few familiar faces. And then there's a portly man. Yes, his name is literally Berg. Beside him is the one and only Celian, or Sarah, or Syrian. Her name seems to change every 5 minutes. Let's just call her Celian. Berg notes that 29 were invited, so why is the place a ghost town? She maintains a positive front, saying more came than she expected, but Nergal concedes it's strange. Far more usually attend, which frankly, is logical since these top 30 guilds are locked in constant competition with one another. That's when Nergal gets to the heart of it. The Hydra Guild has identified the corrupt count, and it appears they're launching the final raid in 1 month. Chev instantly declares it's impossible. He doesn't believe it. None of the other guilds are even remotely close. He's certain Hydra used some underhanded tactic. Then, Berg slams the table, knowing the game is over. If Hydra pulls this off, they won't just get the quest, they'll lock down all future main story content. This feels like a classic *** level up manhwa. English *** plot twist. They're discussing sponsorships and total dominance when Celian viciously tells them to shut up. She sneers that if they're too afraid to compete, they should just stay silent, get lost, and stop wasting her time. Berg, however, isn't intimidated. He even asks if she wants to settle this with fists. Chev intervenes, telling him to stand down. They already fight more than enough, so, just for today, they should try to maintain peace. Nergal agrees, stating he called this meeting to propose an anti-Hydra alliance. The proposal? The 4 guilds present will agree to a ceasefire among themselves until the corrupt count affair is resolved. Furthermore, they would pool all their intelligence to improve their odds. He asks for their thoughts. Chev looks unimpressed, but admits it's likely their only option. Berg concurs. This is their one chance to stop Hydra. The meeting concludes, but no one bothered to ask for Celian's opinion. We cut to her residence and yes, it's her house. The narrative is tracking this woman's story with an almost obsessive focus. It's becoming suspicious. The author is clearly plotting to have us side with her. She's sitting there, seething. It's humiliating, she thinks, being unable to beat the first major boss alone. Needing to ally with other guilds is the absolute worst. But she has no other choice. If they allow Hydra to defeat the Count first, they're all finished. This is no time for hesitation. It's time to act. She makes a call, ordering everyone in her guild to watch Hydra's every move. Any suspicious activity must be reported instantly. The corrupt Count must belong to them, no matter the cost. Now, we return to the association within the castle. Our boy stands there, a confused look etched on his face, asking what the man truly means. The man, arms crossed, tells him to go to Walbury Forest. That's the last known location of this Miji person. He wants Harkin to investigate and uncover what transpired. The issue: Walbury Forest is crawling with level 70 monsters. Even Harkin is shaken. He states flatly, there is no way he can survive. If a single monster attacks him, he's dead instantly. But the man replies that, yes, that's true for most. But you are not most people. You are my disciple. And if you refuse, you forfeit your corruption tracker status, which likely means he loses the ring and that necklace as well. Back in the city, our boy sits before the fountain, utterly defeated. He's agonizing over how in the hell he's supposed to survive this. He opens the quest window, find Miji. Just reading the title feels like a death sentence. His mission: investigate the corrupted stones and take over Miji's quest. The reward is 500 gold coins and a few bonuses. But the real threat is the penalty. Failure means losing his title. He knows main quests are the one thing you cannot afford to fail, but this one is far too difficult. He realizes accepting increasingly harder missions is finally catching up to him. The truth is, no normal player could have pulled off what he has. He's been scraping by, leaning on knowledge from his past life. But now, the difficulty has completely spiked. This quest is for level 60 and higher. There's no way he can solo it. So how will he handle the Walbury Forest? Just then, he overhears a guy talking to a catgirl NPC. Did you hear the Hydra Guild is about to finish the main quest? She doubts it. Even the top 30 guilds are struggling. But the guy wonders what happens to everyone else's quests if Hydra succeeds. This sparks a strange idea in Harkin. He realizes he might not have to enter the forest at all. We cut to a man with binoculars watching the Count's hunter. He reports that, once again, nothing has been found. The orange-haired man, Natal, is also watching. As his partner mutters about the reward for killing the Count, Natal tells him not to get carried away, as this is not over yet. Their mission is to secretly watch that location. They can't let their guard down or let information leak. That's when someone emerges from the forest, calling out. He's from the Red Bull Guild. His name is Kim. Natal demands to know what his guild is doing there. Kim claims a strong monster is on the mountain, and he was just going to kill it. We're not involved in this, he says, smirking. Natal insists they are involved, trying to act innocent while clearly watching the castle. Kim sees through the bluff and asks why he's squatting in the middle of nowhere. You taking a dump or something? He jokes, saying he'll leave him to his business, but he could tell from Kim's expression that something was up. He checks his watch, reporting that guild member number 8 is also there, so the intel seems legit. Meanwhile, Chev, living his peaceful life, says it can't be true. But the tip from the anonymous source is checking out. The girl with him, sharp as ever, says she thought it was just a prank. But now she wonders why someone would give away such intel for free and anonymously. Chev figures, some guilds have members who hate their own teams. It could be someone inside, Hydra leaking info out of spite. Kim asks if he should start a fight to buy time. Chev tells him, no. For now, we should fall back. If that's the corrupt Count's castle, the Hydra Guild will swarm the place soon. It's better not to risk losing someone as strong as him. Kim blushes slightly, waving it off. Come on. No need to hype me up like that. But just as he says that, someone charges him with a sword, and the entire ground explodes. Chev hears the massive impact from a distance. Kim stands there, hands up, saying, well, guess we weren't the only ones who got the tip. And there she is. The Thunder Princess. Chihuahua herself. This blonde menace is named Hahui, and she demands Kim reveal everything he knows. Meanwhile, back with Harkin, we see a massive bear charging one of his guards. The guard blocks, holding his ground, but the bear winds up a punch. It strikes, but it's far too slow. While his skeleton soldiers sit around watching, somehow wearing 3D glasses for some reason. Our main character is searching for something, but he's not finding anything. He wonders why it's so quiet. He definitely sent out those emails, so why hasn't anyone replied? This was his only way to avoid the Walbury Forest. Essentially, he's trying to force the main quest to conclude. That's because in Warlord, the main quest is split into chapters. Right now, they're in Chapter 1, the Corrupt Count. Once the Count is defeated, the chapter ends, and all related side quests are forcibly completed. So yes, he still wants a piece of the main quest, but without failing, and without entering that forest just to be slaughtered, finding a missing person. To him, the best outcome is anyone finishing that quest. That's why he leaked the information to everyone. Suddenly, a notification. Hydra Guild has started a live stream. Golems lie broken, their arms shattered, as bears wind up another attack. But Harkin rushes in, smacking one aside. He has to watch the stream. Damn it. Everyone gathers. On screen, a Hydra member welcomes viewers. He announces they're revealing the corrupt count's identity and the raid date. All Harkin needs is the raid to happen within the next month. That is the time limit for his own quest. The date is announced, shocking the stream, but it's censored from view. Damn it. The next panel reveals it is in 3 days. Harkin relaxes. It's sooner than he hoped. His skeletons glare at him. They know he forced this. With the info now public, it's a race to see who claims the kill first. Back to the bear fight. Now, he doesn't care who wins, even if it is Hydra. Whatever. He knows other guilds will eventually surpass Hydra. The world is full of skilled players. The best part is escaping that cursed forest. Then, the scene cuts. A body is slammed into the ground. Every member of Hydra guild, annihilated. Quest failed. Harkin's reaction? He smashes his phone, furious. How could those idiots charge in with no plan and die in 1 hour? This isn't some predictable level-up manhwa. He pounds the ground, wondering what's next. That's when the Red Bull Guild begins their own livestream. He knows this guild. It's led by the infamous Slayer Chev, who stands at the front, declaring that the castle is resetting. This means Hydra has failed. He tells his troops to look closely. This enemy was strong enough to crush them. Red Bull's own resources are dangerously low. Their odds of victory are slim. Still, they accept the challenge. The crowd roars, "Red Bull! Red Bull!" While Harkin just watches, thinking, what's the strategy now? Don't tell me they're also going in blind. Then Chev announces a special guest joining the raid party. It's her, the Queen of Thunder, Chelon. Harkin's expression twists. Why the hell is she on his screen? Flashback to just before the stream. She's laughing, amused. He requested a meeting. She just stares him down. He asks if she is declaring war. She says no. He jokes it is hard to believe, hearing his men were beaten badly. She chuckles, calling it a greeting. But now, it's business. She heard he has intel on the corrupt count. He plays dumb, claiming he's never heard of it. But Chelon cuts him off. Stop the games. She's confirmed that members of the top 30 guilds received the leaked intel. And the fact he's investigating, when his guild isn't known for questing, is proof enough he knows something. Chev, looking awkward, admits there's no point hiding it. He knows, but he has no solid leads. Chelon leans in, smiling faintly, tapping her sword on the table. What do you think? Will Hydra succeed? He says it is impossible to know, but she is certain they will fail. Hydra rushed the raid date to be first, but the corrupt count is a main area's first boss. It won't be that simple. Chev counters, "This is Hydra though. What are you implying?" He demands she be direct. Chelon just chuckles, then slams her sword on the table, proposing they team up for the dungeon. She promises him the first kill. This woman, cold, bold, deadly, and powerful. Chev is stunned. He thought she was bluffing. Back to the present. There she is, live in action. Just as the rumors claimed, she's effortlessly wiping out monsters. Now, they stand face to face with the Count. The boss looks down on them. You're not bad, but your will to fight dies here. A legion of monsters charges, and the guild begins to falter. Chev sees the team is reaching its breaking point. Celian grumbles she's slain droves of foes, but the horde is endless. Just then, Chev falls before her, vowing to the Thunder Queen he'll forge a path to the Count. He smashes his blade into the earth, clearing the way. She storms directly at the boss. The beast bellows, questioning her defiance as it unleashes a barrage of tentacles. She evades, vaulting through the air, poised to strike. This was the end, until something impaled her. For a moment, we believed she'd won. Chev screams her name, but this devil. She actually rises again. She deceived everyone. A total feint. She recovers and severs the wretched boss in two. Chev stares, stunned, and at last admits it. She's more terrifying than he ever imagined. There she stands, imposing, foot planted on the slain boss like a true queen. Meanwhile, Harkin is displeased. But no matter. This was his objective. The corrupt Count is dead. He cares not who delivered the blow. Let her savor this fleeting glory, for retribution is near. In the end, he will be the one to bring her down. Back in the Bucas Mountains, our protagonist stands resolute, declaring his name is Jah Hen, known in-game as Harkin, a warlord player, a man reborn. His ambition, become the strongest, avenging his ruined life. Like a protagonist in a dark level-up manhwa, despite his many titles, every quest ends with him fleeing for his very life. Mere hours earlier, he reached a sealed zone, one that opens only when a specific condition is met. But our cunning protagonist knows this is where the next main quest starts, and he's already inside. He instantly gains the title. First to set foot on the mountain, granting +2 to all stats. The zone, it seems, only unlocks once the Count is slain, and he was lying in wait. He proceeds inside, summons his skeletons, announcing it's finally his time to shine. Or perhaps not. He runs headlong into a swarm of level 60 boars. He is only level 41. a dense forest, a fatal combination. Back to the present, he's running for his life. He forgot that beyond the barrier, the zone had never been farmed, meaning it's teeming with untouched monsters. With no options left, realizing he's just running in circles, he sacrifices all his skeletons, sending them charging in. The boars are relentless, biting and headbutting. His minions are being obliterated. One hit, and they crumble. Harkin is shocked those cursed things one-shot them. But truthfully, he's fine with it, because that was merely the bait. The Curse of Sloth has activated. The monsters are now practically frozen. He draws his blade, announcing they'll pay dearly for killing his skeletons. But then, a moment of sheer absurdity. Something drops on his head. It's another monster, a blasted armored monkey that enjoys tormenting humans. He curses the creature, but it's too late. The curse has faded, and the boars are free. He thought his end had come, but at that very instant, a bolt slices through a boar, tearing it in two. He can't see where the attacks are coming from. Someone's nearby with a wicked crossbow, unleashing a barrage that clears the entire zone. He's stunned, wondering who could possess the power to annihilate monsters like this. And when he turns, he wonders, is that them? Impossible. The profile card shows an elven archer girl, but standing there is a full-blown, mustached man. Cut back to Sioux Castle. One man tells his friend to look closer. Is that the player in the White Mamba set? The other confirms, yes, only top-rank players typically have that gear. The man with glasses asks Michael if she's identified the person behind the information leak. The enigmatic woman, perpetually shrouded in shadow by the artist, replies, unfortunately, no, none of the guilds have any leads yet. They're trying to find who leaked the dungeon details, but it was all anonymous. The man with glasses changes the subject, asking if there's anything new about the masked player. Michael says he just seems to be posting routine hunting videos. It's unbelievable that a novice who just began the main quest could be behind this. She asks who he is working with now, and he replies that he'll be assisting the Sweepers Guild. Shy notes it sounds like he'll be occupied for a long while again, vowing to unmask and obliterate those disrupting this world's fragile balance. Meanwhile, deep within the forest, our hero grins foolishly, boasting of his discipleship. He's ecstatic, having found his target and been saved in the process. But this isn't Miji, it's Moong. Could he be the one Harkin was meant to find? The path grows unclear, but regardless, he is the pivotal NPC for the second chapter. Though skilled enough to once mentor the prince, Moong was exiled during an upheaval. He has since become the captain guarding Mount Bulkas, the very NPC Harkin requires for the next arc. Moong urges him to retreat. It's not safe here. Unaware of Harkin's purpose, he warns the place is swarming with monsters. Harkin smiles, announcing the corrupt count is defeated. Still, corrupted beasts are roaming. He tracked a trail of dark energy to this very spot. He asks if Moong knows anything. Naturally, he's playing his part to trigger the next main quest. Moong admits he has a suspect, but no proof. Harkin instantly sees his opening, offering to help gather evidence. Boom, 2 new titles unlock. Initiator of Bulkas, granting +4 to all stats. He sees the rewards, his hunger for the quest now undeniable. He demands Moong hand it over. He's ready to assist. Moong agrees, assigning him to investigate the area. The quest: slay 50 monsters on the mountain. Reward: 500 gold and Moong's trust. You'd expect terror, right? But no, he's absolutely hyped. The perfect mission in this brutal level-up manhwa. He needs to grind experience and train his summons, starting with the weaklings. Just then, a sound. A massive armored primate is staring him down. And our hero's first thought? This beast's demise will be a spectacle worth witnessing. The real hunt has just begun.